I have something I think is important to share tonight. About a week ago, Mayor Siddeley and I were at the Sidewalk Committee, and a resident approached us, a bit irate, and said, "What are you going to do about the homeless encampment on such and such street?" And we travel those streets constantly, and frankly, we didn't know of any such encampment. And the person took us over to the maps and, with specificity, directed us to the location of this alleged camp. I went there that night, and I was stunned at what I saw. I don't know if to describe it as a homeless camp is accurate, but it was occupied. There were tents. There were multiple RVs. There was garbage all over the place. There were propane tanks lying around. It was a mess. And I thought about it, and I talked to some of the neighbors, and they indicated to me that they suspected that there may be drug dealing going on there. They told me that they believe that some of their local thefts occurred because of the people in this location, and that no one's ever addressed it. So I decided that I was going to share this with the police, and I spoke with Chief Cole. And Chief Cole took the bull by the horns, went to visit the location, and told me an interesting part, that the local patrol officer who went by that site virtually every day, multiple times a day, had not seen into the location until he was brought there to look over the fence and look into it. And they went in and they started working on the problem. The problem, it turns out, occurred years ago. There is an elderly woman who lives in this house that may or may not have utilities. And she had hired a local couple to help her approximately 2 years ago with her yard maintenance because she had been noticed by code enforcement. And they took care of it, and they helped her. And then they invited their friends. And she felt that she was not in a position to ask them to leave. And she has been living in this situation for 2 years. Now, I have to commend Chief Cole for his swift action and his excellent street smarts on how to resolve this quickly. And I can tell you that this problem is now in much better shape than it was. And I went to visit the person who lived there, and she was so grateful to the city for getting involved, because she was basically a prisoner on her own property. She's disabled. She can hardly walk. I bring this up because I find in reading next door and in talking with people that there's a pervasive reticence by the public to contact the police or to directly contact the city or to contact the council when they see something that doesn't make sense, that shouldn't be allowed. And in this case, if this woman hadn't addressed the mayor and myself, this woman, the woman who lived there, would have still been in the same situation without any hope of resolution. I want all of our residents to think about that, to think about the fact that they could be positively affecting their neighbors and the community by picking up the phone, by picking up C-Click Fix, and reporting what they see that should be reported. The police are our friends. They are our defenders. They are here to help our city and to make it better. And for this situation to have been allowed, because the neighbors around this property knew what was going on, no one ever bothered to call the police. No one ever bothered to call code. No one ever bothered to call the city. And this woman was trapped in her own property because no one did anything. Shame on us. This is not the way to be a community. We must pay attention, we must be vigilant, and we must work together. And that means using the resources that the city provides. And to those people who say, well, the police never get there, I've worked with the chief on a number of situations now, and he gets things done, and the city gets things done. So it's just the fact that you really don't want to pick up the phone and get involved. But that's not the right answer. And I urge you to report what you see and to get involved in making this city better. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. Peter?